Beneath the burning sun and beneath the silver moon, life moved with the wind. The earth was both a home and a battlefield. Every sunrise, a promise and a test. For the traveling native tribes, survival wasn't a choice. It was the only truth they ever knew. In a world ruled by nature, strength meant more than muscle. It meant spirit, wisdom, and unity. But how did they survive when every step meant danger and every dawn could bring loss? Let's find out. The plains stretched endless, golden and fierce under the Sunday dust rose with every step, and the horizon shimmered like fire. There were no walls, no shelters, and no cities to hide behind. The land gave life, but only to those who respected it. For the travelers, survival began with understanding that they were not rulers of nature, but part of it. Children learned early that food did not come easily. Water meant life, yet rivers vanished as quickly as they appeared. The elders read the earth like a book, the color of grass, the cry of a bird, even the smell of the wind spoke of what was coming. Every member of the tribe carried a purpose. The hunters moved with silence, the gatherers searched with patience, and the healers guarded ancient secrets of roots and smoke. There was no rest from survival, only rhythm. Their life was a song written by nature itself, and every breath was part of that music. But beneath this beauty lay a hard truth. Mercy was rare. A single mistake, a broken arrow, a forgotten signal could mean death. And yet, they did not fear it. They had learned that life's strength lies in the struggle to keep it. From the moment they were born, every child learned these lessons. In a world without safety, survival became their first language. A traveling child's cradle was made of hide and bark, but their lessons came from fire and sky. They were taught to walk quietly, listen deeply, and never take more than the earth allowed. From the moment they could walk, they followed the elders into the open plains, learning the art of balance between taking and giving. The tribe moved with the seasons. In summer, they followed the herds, their paths marked by the footprints of buffalo and deer. In winter, they sought shelter in valleys or forests, building temporary homes of skin and wood. Each movement was guided by signs, patterns in the stars, the call of traveling birds, and the stories whispered by the wind. But being born into a traveling life was no gentle beginning. Children faced the same hunger as their elders, the same storms, and the same fears. They learned to face pain with silence, to respect death without tears, and to find warmth not just in the fire, but in each other. They grew up believing that every creature had a soul, every river a spirit, and every mountain a guardian. To hunt meant to pray. To live meant to honor. And in this respect for all things, they found strength no empire could destroy. Yet, when the world changed, when outsiders brought weapons, greed, and disease, their old way of life faced its hardest test. And when the time came to prove their strength, the test arrived with bow, spear, and blood the hunt. When the tribe prepared for the hunt, silence fell like a special spell. The warriors painted their faces with ash and earth. Each color carried meaning: black for strength, red for courage, and white for spirit. The drums echoed softly at dawn, calling upon the past family for guidance. The hunt was more than survival, it was ceremony. Every movement had purpose. The hunters studied the tracks, feeling the earth with bare hands, reading the story of each print. They whispered to the wind, asking it to carry their scent away. They moved as one, hearts beating in the same rhythm as the hoofbeats they chased. When the herd appeared on the horizon, the moment became timeless. Spears rose, arrows sang through the air, and dust swallowed the Sunday. It was not a mess, it was a balance between hunter and hunted. For every kill, a prayer was spoken. The meat would feed the tribe, the hide would clothe them, and the bones would craft their tools. Nothing was wasted. But sometimes, the hunt turned cruel. A sudden storm, a wounded bull, or a misstep could take a life. When that happened, they did not curse the land, they listened. They believed the spirits demanded balance, and every loss carried meaning. And so, with every hunt, they remembered that survival was not victory. It was respect. When the hunt ended and the sun sank low, the tribe gathered once more around the fire, the beating heart of their world. When darkness fell, the tribe gathered around the fire, their only light against the huge open space. Sparks rose like tiny stars, and the crackle of burning wood mixed with the whispers of the night wind. The fire was more than warmth. It was memory. Around it they shared stories, not written in books, but carved into the soul. The elders spoke of the Great Spirit, of past family who walked the same land, and of battles fought not just with enemies, but with the heart's own fear. Every tale had a lesson: courage, loyalty, and the power of unity. Even the children listened in silence, their eyes wide with wonder, feeling that the flames themselves carried the voices of those who came before. Sometimes, the night brought fear, the cries of wolves, the shifting shadows in the dark. But within the circle of fire, they felt protected. The rhythm of the drums, the steady chant of the spiritual leader, and the smell of sage and smoke, these things tied them to something greater. To live as a traveler meant to live between the seen and unseen. Dreams were messages, storms were warnings. The earth beneath them was alive, and every heartbeat echoed its pulse. They did not own the land, they belonged to it, and in that belonging, they found peace, even as the fire burned low and the cold crept closer. But peace never lasted long in the open plains. The next morning, the wind carried a new sound: thunder, rolling from the sky. Then came the storm. The air grew heavy, and the sky turned black with fury. Winds screamed across the plains, tearing through tents and driving sand into every open eye. The tribe moved quickly, holding down shelters, protecting the children, and guarding the special fire that must never die. But nature showed no mercy that night. Rain fell like knives, lightning cracked open the heavens, and thunder rolled like the anger of old gods. Horses broke free, supplies scattered, and the earth itself seemed to shudder. Yet no one fled blindly. They had faced such wrath before, and their survival was written in unity. Men and women worked together, covering the weak, lifting what was lost, and singing old songs to calm the spirits. The spiritual leader raised his hands to the sky, his voice steady in the disorder, a prayer to the wind to show kindness, to the fire to stay alive, and to the past family to watch over their children. When morning came, the land was broken but alive. Trees lay twisted, and trails were washed away, but the tribe survived. They rebuilt without complaint, thanking the storm for its lesson. Nothing is ever truly safe, and every dawn must be earned. And as the sun rose once more over the soaked plains, they stood together shivering, exhausted but unbroken. In the storm's silence came something stronger than fear: brotherhood. The firm code that held the tribe together. Life on the move demanded more than strength. It demanded trust, deep and solid. The tribe lived by an assumed code: protect one another, share what you have, and never abandon your own. In the wilderness, where death waited in silence, that bond was the only law that mattered. A hunter would risk his life to save a friend. A mother would feed another's child before her own. There were no strangers among them, only brothers and sisters of the earth. This unity made them strong, more powerful than any weapon could. But the code was also their duty. Betrayal, even once, meant being kicked out. To be kicked out was worse than death. The land could not forgive one who turned against the tribe's spirit. And so they lived carefully, bound by honor and survival. In moments of peace, they celebrated together. Feasts followed the hunt, dances filled the nights, and songs rose to the stars. Their joy was intense because it was rare. Every moment of laughter came from struggle. Every embrace carried the memory of loss. In their blood, the tribe carried a truth that few outsiders could ever understand. Freedom is not the absence of hardship, it is the courage to face it together. But soon, the winds changed again. The herds moved away, and the earth whispered a warning: it was time to leave. When the signs came, they were faint at first. The buffalo grew fewer, the rivers thinned, and the ground cracked beneath their feet. The elders knew what it meant. The land was tired, and it was time to move on. But this time, something felt different. The sky carried a strange stillness, and even the wind seemed to hesitate. The tribe gathered before dawn, their belongings packed, their fires put out. Leaving a camp was never easy. Every place held memories, births, laughter, tears, and the footprints of past family. But the traveling spirit knew no roots. The earth was their map, and the stars their compass. They moved in silence. The old carried the young, and the strong carried the weight. Every sound, the creak of leather, the whisper of feet and dust echoed like a prayer. Behind them, the land they had called home disappeared into the mist, swallowed by time itself. Hunger stalked them. Nights grew colder. Some fell behind, their strength gone, but no one was forgotten. The tribe carried their memory forward. Survival was not just about the body, it was about spirit, about the promise that no soul would be left behind. And as they marched beneath the endless sky, they found beauty even in struggle. The glow of dawn on frost, the cry of an eagle, the rhythm of their own heartbeat. To them, movement was life itself, a special promise to keep walking, no matter how far the horizon stretched. And through the years of constant wandering, one truth remained. The body may tire, but the spirit never dies. Years passed, and seasons turned like the circle of a drumbeat. Some tribes vanished, others changed, and the winds of the new world began to whisper strange names: roads, borders, and towns. Yet, even as their paths faded from the plains, the spirit of the travelers did not die. It lived on in stories, in songs, and in the quiet strength of their future family. The people who once roamed with the buffalo had carried more than arrows and spears. They carried wisdom, the wisdom that the land is alive, that no man owns the earth. That freedom is not given by kings or rulers, it is born from the heart. When the young sat beside the fire, listening to the tales of old, they understood something deeper. Their past family's journey was never about escape. It was about belonging to the sky, to the wind, to every living thing that breathes. Even today, when the modern world hums with noise and speed, the traveling soul remains. It whispers in the wild places, in the crackle of campfires, and in the rhythm of rain. It reminds us that survival is not just about living, it's about remembering who we are. And though the land may change, and the tribes may wander no more, the spirit of the travelers walks still free, fierce, and endless. They moved with the wind, fought with courage, and lived by the heartbeat of the earth. Theirs was a life of hardship, but also of balance, a balance we have almost forgotten. What would it mean to live like them now, to feel the land the way they did? Tell us in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories from the forgotten edges of history.